Speak a little maybe to Dolezal and Renihan's books and resources they have available. If someone's interested in pre-reading or pre-work, what would you recommend for them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think for Dolezal, a good pre-read would be his book, All That Is in God. Yeah. I think that's a very helpful book. It covers that material that he delivered at one of the Southern California Reformed Baptist Pastors Conferences. It was an excellent conference and an excellent set of lectures by Dr. Dolezal on the content of Chapter 2. And so a very good preview would be to read through that book.
I believe Matthew Barrett also has a book, Simply Trinity, mm-hmm. and in Chapter 1 he talks about Trinity Adrift, How do we get here? Mm-hmm. Would you recommend that book as a slightly more accessible, read for Chapter 2? And if you can, summarize Chapter 1, which would help people understand mm-hmm. why we should be at this conference?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. I mean, that connects well with Trinity Adrift, the subject matter of that particular chapter. It's exactly what he's dealing with, largely modern departures from the historical doctrine of the Trinity. Something happened, for what can we say, 19 centuries, there was we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. Something happened in that 20th century, But for century upon century, there was very largely and clearly a common consensus on the doctrine of God, on the content of Chapter 2 of our Confession of Faith. And so, something happened, and Matthew Barrett sort of outlines that. What happened in churches? What happened in seminaries? What happened with, with theological writings in the 20th century? And what can we see? What can we observe? What can we learn? And how can we simply get back into the meat and potatoes of our received theological heritage that many have seemed to have departed from? And that's, I think, in a nutshell, the subject matter of that, and it connects well with our conference. That's in part what we're trying to do here, is to show what the Bible teaches with regards to the doctrine of God, and to demonstrate, again, that we are the inheritors of that received theological heritage that our forebears have passed on throughout the ages, and that we should receive well as the truth that concerns our blessed triune God.
Yeah, I think that Trinity Adrift sets the stage, and then the rest of the book, Simply Trinity, deals with the positive presentation. Mm-hmm. We don't need to subordinate Jesus eternally to provide a basis or rationale for distinction. Mm-hmm. The church has always recognized it's the eternal relations of origin that distinguish the persons one from another. So that's a good book. I would say Scott Swain's Introduction to the Trinity has been very helpful. I think Fred Sanders' book on the Holy Spirit and Introduction, though not as probably connected to Chapter 1 or Chapter 2, is very helpful. And then by Dr. Sam Renihan, both those books I mentioned, God Without Passions, the primer and the reader, very helpful. He has another one called Deity and Decree, where he deals with chapters 2 and 3. So yeah, very, very good stuff that would be a helpful precursor or pre-read before coming to the conference. Mm-hmm.